Oh my God, hi! Happy Gregorian calendar New Year and welcome back to No Way! Tell me everything. My name is Jess. I'm so happy to be here with you today. What a year. What a year that we have just started 5 days in when I'm recording this. I know you know what I'm talking about. Started off with a real bang, she says as she cries. 2025 was intense. 2026 really giving us a preview of what's to come. It's been interesting. Am I right or am I right? No, but 2025 was insane. We've talked about this so much and it continues. I'm not super into the gene keys or human design from like a esoteric knowledge perspective. I know all the basics of those things, but I have some lovely friends who are very into those, and they have said that 26 is going to be interesting because we are working towards some sort of prophecy in 2027. I am hoping to have my friend Sina on here soon. She knows a lot about the gene keys and these prophecies. I would love to have her talk about it in more depth. I will not because I don't know enough about it, but I do know that it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of astrological forecasts for 2026 talking about the things that are going to be happening this year as themes for the year, which are also interesting. And then you have the Chinese astrology with the fire horse, which is also interesting. And I believe that starts February 16th, I want to say, is when the new year starts. If you follow that, I kind of follow a little bit to everything. I take what resonates. So I feel like a lot of the energies are very similar to each other, different ways of explaining them, different start times. But, you know, as with anything start time, like it doesn't start right when you think it starts. We're not like, oh, it's a 1 year from the first. Everything's different. It's like there's like a bleed over on both sides. So you'll feel a little bit of the 1 year back in December, and you'll feel a little bit of the 9 year still into this 1 year. It's like the shadow period is what we use a lot in astrology. So what I wanted to do today is 2026 energy and card reading. See what's coming up for us from that perspective, because I'm not going to talk about astrologically. I mean, of course, I'll talk about astrological stuff through the year, but there are a lot of really good people talking about 2026 who are entirely more qualified than I am. So Aja, Sabrina from Rewilding, Chris Corsini. There's been a lot of people talking about what 2026 is going to bring astrologically. So I will point you in their direction for that, keeping in mind, of course, that we are all individuals. So there's collective energies going on. How you feel the collective energies kind of depends on your own chart, your own evolution within your chart, the other modalities. That's why I say I kind of pick and choose, because I like being a cherry picker. I think that's the way to be. I don't think I could ever follow one modality or one religion ever again, because I don't think, for me personally, there's anything that fits well enough for me to be like, yes, this is the way to go only. I like being able to look at the wider perspective. And so for me, for example, I'm in a 1 year now. So we are also collectively in a 1 year. What that says to me from my own experience is that I'm going to feel the 1 year energies a lot stronger than, say, someone who's in a 4 year or a 5 year. They'll still feel these collective themes of a 1 year, but they're personally in a 4 or 5 year. And I think the personal aspects of these things tend to weigh heavier than the collective. So the same thing goes with astrology. There's a lot of really big collective themes going on. How those transits and energies and placements affect you as a person will be entirely dependent on your own personal chart. Also, as I was talking to one of my students about yesterday, there are it's like a sliding scale on the energies of something. Let's take Taurus, for example. I'm a Taurus. There are shadow aspects of Taurus, and then there are these higher aspects of a Taurus. And there's a kind of scale in between. And you can go back and forth between all of those in different areas of your life. So if you're a Taurus sun like me, I can have a tendency to be very resistant to change. I like things to stay the way that they are, right? I mean, that's like a universal thing, I think, for a lot of people, but even more for Taurus, like, we get real stubborn and stuck in the mud about this works. This is how it is. Sometimes it's not even working, and that's the thing. But like, you would rather pick the broken that you know than do the change and the transformation it takes to fix it. That can be a shadow aspect of Taurus. But if you're aware of that and you're working towards the more higher aspects of Taurus, or working like this year, Uranus, well, not this year, since 2018, Uranus has been in Taurus. And that's like not a good combo because Uranus is disruption, revolution, change, lots and lots of change and sudden change, right? That's like nightmare fodder for Taurus. And it's been in our sign since 2018 and then kind of tiptoeing out a little bit and then retrograding back in. And then from February, it's going to leave. And so all the astrologers are talking about how Taurus is going to have a much more stable, chill year. But the whole point of us going through that transit was to help us get unstuck and get comfortable with constant change and constant disruption and not being able to find our footing. It's like quicksand. And so there's method in the madness of this astrology, from my opinion, right? If you don't believe in astrology, throw this all away. But for me, I feel like the energies are trying to push you to work with things. And if you work with them, then the energy lessens. So again, if we look at this Cancer full moon that we just had, I was emotional. Like I was crying over my oven because we got a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get into this right now, but like we had a lot of stuff break during the holiday period, appliance-wise. One of those things was the oven. And y'all know I love my sour bread and my baking, so that I was not standing for that. So it kind of worked, but it was just on its last leg. So there was a sale, we went out and got an oven. The day that we were going to pick up the oven, which was Saturday, the night of the full moon, in Cancer. Cancer is nurturing. Cancer is emotions. Cancer is ruled by the moon. So it's the mother, it's emotions, intimacy, subconscious, all these feminine kind of aspects, right? And I'm also Cancer moon. So I knew that was going to affect me in some ways, right? Well, I went to put my bread in the oven and I've like never had this happen, but I hit the coil on the top of the oven and it looks like a kiss. Like it's actually really cute. I like it. Like, I don't know if people watching can see. It just gave me like a little, and I was crying about it because I was like, I immediately was like, oh my God, it said bye to me. It gave me a farewell kiss because it knows it's the end. And then I started crying and I'm like, why am I crying over an oven? And then I'm like, oh, Cancer full moon and I'm a Cancer moon. So I was going to get emotional. But a lot of the other themes around where you're suppressing your feminine side, where you're overgiving in relationships, where there's an imbalance, where you feel like your emotional needs aren't being met. I didn't feel that at all. And based on a couple other situations I've been through, I think it's because this past year I have done so much work on balancing my relationships to the level that feels good for me and being able to be so much more in my feminine. I'm wearing fucking pink today. A year ago, that would have been like a absolutely fucking not, and I do not wear pink. Like I've definitely, and that's a very stereotypical thing. It's just an example, but I've done a lot of work to be okay with being in the feminine side because I was operating mainly in the masculine. So therefore, I think that this full moon just didn't really, there was not a lot of energy to pull on me. Whereas I know a lot of people who were really affected by it. And it was showing up a lot in work relationships, friendships, things where they were suppressing themselves or overgiving, right? So the energy is there to help you if you need it, if you need to work on something. And I think that's going to be the way that you look at any forecast you're seeing right now. It's like a good to know, tuck it away for later. Make sure you're paying attention to your individual transits, your individual years, things like that, you know? I think it's important to do that whenever you do anything, is just kind of think about it and see how it resonates for you. But what I thought I would do, because I normally do this for myself and I haven't done it yet, and I need to have an episode for this week because I haven't done one. So I thought I would do this energy reading. I legitimately took a vacation from doing anything. I just really hung out with my kids. I did a mural in my house, which I really love. I'm really happy with it. It was a very typical Jess ADHD situation. I woke up one morning and was like, I want to paint stuff today. Made my husband go to the paint store with me, bought a bunch of paint for the wall behind our couch that I've always wanted to do, then decided to paint a mural on our archway that we have going between the dining room and the kitchen. And then did that for like 3 days. And now the kids are back at school. So today is a perfect day for an energy reading. I'm going to try to keep it short. Before I forget, remember to like this show, rate it, share it, please. It helps me. We're going to start off with tarot today. Let's see what Miss Tarot has to say. I did invite in my guides. I'd like to make sure that they're here. And my mediumship psychic guide, if you could make sure you're also here with me and help me. Yes, they are. Help me interpret the cards. Let's do like a quarterly energy spread. Let's do, oh my God, this is so old Jess business style. Let's do a Q1, Q2. No, let's go by seasons. Let's do the remainder of this winter season, and let's do spring, summer, fall. Is that what we want to do? What do I want to do? Spring, summer, fall, winter. Fine. Okay. 4 cards, 4 energies, spring, summer, fall, winter. Let's go. First card, spring. What do we got for spring? Ew. Ooh. Okay. I wanted 1 card, but they don't always listen to me. So let me just. That one's like, you're not putting me back in. Part of it. Well, this is nice. Okay. Oops, I lost my pillow. All right, we're back. All right. We got, in this order, the priestess, the devil, and the sun. Hey, it's a nice little folding. Let me just feel into these. Okay. So it feels like there's going to be a lot going on in the beginning of this year through spring with the divine feminine, with the feminine in ourselves and collectively. I'm getting this feeling of like, not everything is black and white. There's some sort of middle ground. And I'd love some more clarification on that message. But it's this kind of feeling of like, women are waking up. Women are looking around. Women are realizing that it doesn't have to be this or that. There's a middle ground where we want to be within ourselves, I'm feeling. And I think a lot of it is going to be around people just really starting to notice how much this system does not work for our divine feminine, for our feminine side. And with the devil card, it's really this idea of realizing how we're keeping ourselves shackled. So we're in this system, this devil, this system that makes us feel like we're shackled to something. But the reality is that we hold the chain ourselves. We're able to remove the chain. And it's this unveiling, this understanding of who's actually holding the chain and what it takes to free ourselves from it. And this liberation, with the sun, like this liberation of the feminine within us. And the demonization of the feminine is also something that's coming through. So I feel like in this first quarter of the year, there's going to be an internal reclaiming. There's also a lot around emotion, the owning of that emotion. And I think that's kind of a message coming through around the demonization of this emotional side of the feminine, of not being able to be strong and emotional, that being a weakness. That's something that's going to come through probably for some of us internally, of this feeling of, I am keeping myself down, stuck, suppressed by not embracing the full spectrum of my emotions. And this is how they want me to be. And that liberation is going to come when I understand my internal world and who I am and the fact that I'm sovereign. So that is spring. Is there any other messages around that? Feels like a celebration, whether that's internally or collective. The feeling I'm getting from these first 3 cards is more an inward, outward kind of situation. It feels like this is more about what's going to be happening in a lot of us inwardly in our inner world, is this realization, but it will come as a celebration. And so it's also interesting with the sun, because then the next season is summer. So let's ask, can I have like some cards for summer? I would say 1, but I know that you're going to do whatever you want to do. So, whoa. And they did. Okay. Can I have a clarifier here? This one's not so rosy. Okay. All right. 6 of Swords, 9 of Pentacles, and the Death card. So in the summer period, it feels like, oh, also this one was upside down. I should note the 9 of Pentacles was upside down. What it feels like is there will be an understanding of what we're carrying with us and the options open to us. So some of us are going to be realizing all of the limiting beliefs, all of the negative thoughts, all of the things keeping us stuck that we're carrying with us still from childhood, it looks like to me. And also that we're not looking around. Like we're not looking around and looking up and seeing the different options available to us. We're just letting somebody else steer and decide for us. And that somebody else feels very much like, for some of us, it feels like a subconscious situation. And for some, it feels like an actual noticing who's steering your boat. Are you steering your boat? Do you actually, are you the one directing? Are you the captain of the boat? Or are you just a passenger in your boat? It's which way are you going to steer? Are you going to take control? Are you going to remove the obstacles from your boat? Are you going to keep going as the way it is? This is, again, the Devil card. These are the choices we have. These are the things that are coming to us. It feels like also there's this energy around not realizing how abundant your life actually is. With this first one, like it's very much about these shackles. And I mean, that's from the Devil card still, but like this, how do I say that? Help. This despair about the situation that you're in and this feeling of helplessness, right? But again, it's about, are you noticing what's actually keeping you stuck in this situation, or are you just going along with everything? And then with the 9 of Pentacles upside down, it's this feeling of you're not looking around. You're not looking at the things that are around you and actually seeing that it's not as bad as you're feeling that it is. You actually have quite an abundant life if you change your opinions on what abundance is. That it's not necessarily what you've been sold. Abundance will mean something different to every single person, but you have to actually appreciate with gratitude the things that you do have in abundance. And it feels like there will be some endings that come from that. And with the Death card, right? Death is endings. Death is not a scary card in the tarot when you look at it as all endings start again. There's a new beginning. So there will be an ending. But again, that just opens doors for something new to come in if you let it, right? The Death card is like, there are some cards in the tarot that are like, new things will come in if you let go of them. The Death card's like, you're letting go. Whether you like it or not, I will pry your cold, dead fingers off of it. Whoops. Okay, well, I just got our 3 new cards for fall, I guess, because they just came flying out of there. Are these the 3 new cards? Yep, well, that makes sense, actually. Because we got starting off with the Fool. Death to the Fool. I mean, do we need a more proper transition than that one? It feels like you're going to go on, there's going to be like in the fall, there's going to be a new journey that you're going on, something you're embarking on and something that you need to treat as new. So the other thing that's coming through is like we have the King of Pentacles who's on his throne and he has all his stuff and he's basically part of the, like, again, I read tarot interpretively, right? So if you're like a tarot master and you know all this stuff and you're like, Jess, that's not exactly what it means. I don't care. I do it what comes through to me. But I'm so proud of you for learning all of that stuff. That's amazing. Okay, King of Pentacles, like he's basically grown into his chair. Like he's part of the scenery. He is stuck, but like that's not great. Like, yes, you have the master of your situation, your physical world. Like you have everything that you could have ever wanted. It's, again, there's a Taurus there, which we talked about. Again, it's like that stubbornness. And then the three of Swords upside down. So it's this message in the fall of like, there's going to be a new beginning, but you actually have to view it through humble eyes of a new beginning, because you're probably going to be doing something where you feel like you should be an expert, or you want to come in with all of the experience that you have from various other areas of your life. And be this King of Pentacles, be this, I'm on the throne, I know what I'm doing. But that's only going to lead to this heartbreak inside of you because it is a new beginning. It is something new going on. Again, these could also be collectively. It is just the energy for 2026. So this could be, it could be changes in the collective that happen in the autumn, fall, whatever you want to call it, period, where there's a new paradigm or a new process or institution or something. And maybe people are going to be coming in and saying, I have a lot of experience with this. So I think that I should be doing this. And then you have to keep in mind that like this has to be done from the beginning and it has to be treated as if we're all looking at it with new eyes, because going back to the old ways of doing things will just lead to heartbreak. And that could, again, be individual now that that's come through. But like trying to do this new journey in the old ways that you've always done everything that worked for you before is not the way to do it. That's going to be a bad situation. So it's almost like a warning for the fall of look at it with fresh eyes and open mind is what I'm hearing. Okay. That was nice. That was a good one ish. Okay. Let's do the winter period. Winter. What are we looking forward to? Winter 2026. I also have my goddess card. So when we're done here, we'll do, okay. Any other clarifying ones for that one? Well, we had 3 for everything else. Let's do a 3, or let's do one more. Okay. All right. We got Hierophant, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Queen of Wands. Let me feel into these. Okay. So it feels like with the messages around the end of the year here in 2026, a long time ahead, I know. There's going to be a new teacher, there's going to be some ruling changes. Again, if we think of, I'll just say this individually. There might be a new teacher in your life, a new boss. You could be the new teacher. You could have this new sense of understanding of yourself if you've been doing the work from this journey that we've just talked about energetically. It could be you. You're feeling in control of what you're trying to embody. Like you're actually going to be embodying it. But I got to be honest in saying that the energy feels very like false prophet-y. And I hope that I'm wrong with that. But it feels more like a false prophet-y thing. I'm just going to leave it at that for now. The Wheel of Fortune is a card that basically just says what goes up must come down. So the people who have been benefiting from the wheel being on top of the wheel might find themselves having the wheel turn for them. But that also goes for you. So if you feel like things have been really hard, just know that things will always come back up again. It will always keep turning. I'm not like a prophetic person. I don't like to be a prophetic person. Maybe I should lean into that more. But I think it's very interesting to me that we have the Hierophant, and I'm getting this false prophet vibe. And then we have the Queen of Wands at the other bookend. And in between them, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Am I being biased or influenced by things I hope will happen? It could possibly be the case. This one has an individual vibe that I'm feeling from this Queen of Wands. But this Hierophant, man, like normally a Hierophant to me is like, it's a teacher. It's somebody that you respect. But when I'm looking at this, all I'm feeling is like false prophet. Like there's some sort of false prophet situation. But I feel like the Wheel of Fortune is saying that, the wheel is turning for them. They're not going to stay that way. And then the Queen of Wands has this feeling of sovereignty again, but like of your thoughts, your creativity, your spirituality, not thoughts so much, but like who you are, like your sense of self is being renewed. We have the tie-in again with the sunflower, where we had all the sunflowers on the sun, and that's significant to me when I do readings. There's this tie-in of that celebration of self, of sovereignty that we had from the spring. And now we're ending it with this. And there's a little black cat in the front, which is just such a witchy woman situation. Let me try to feel into what this could mean from an individual perspective. Okay, so all right, I don't know if it's collective. I could definitely be looking through the lens of my current situation of the world in terms of what I, of course, hope could happen. But individually, the message that I just got through from this was this Hierophant represents the ways you thought you had to be. Like you had this vision of what an ideal version of yourself would be based on what you had seen, like the people you learned from, what society tells you, what it means to be a good person in society, a good version of yourself. Like you had this idea around what that is. And by the end of the year, you're going to understand that what it actually is for you is to be sovereign, to be yourself, to know who you are and be there comfortably, to be in charge of your spirituality, in charge of your ways of being, and celebrate being there in that power. And part of that comes from the fact that this wheel of fortune, like the wheel is always turning. And when you understand that and you lean into it and you go through the lessons that we've talked through with the different seasons, that will become a lot clearer to you. And it feels like also it's because you have a lot of support. There are a lot of people, guides, spirits working for us right now, guiding us, teaching us. It could also, with this Hierophant, it could also be that this is your guides, but I don't know. I wouldn't say that. That's not the feeling I'm getting from it in this moment. It feels like this is like the reason I'm getting false prophet feels in an individual perspective, or maybe it's also collective, but it's just that who we thought we needed to be happy, to be accepted, to be loved, what we're going to find out through the turning of the wheel, through the support we get, through the guidance we get, through the work that we do from going through these ups and downs, that who we actually need to be is just us. But we have to know who that is. Coffee break. Have to know who that is in order to embrace that. Is there any parting tarot? Just one that you want to say from like an overall year theme? Like what's the overall theme of this year that we need to keep in mind as we go through collectively or individually? Just one, please. There's so many different ways to shuffle your cards. And I think I've tried like 700. And the one I like is the one where the cards don't come out easily. But it's because they don't come out easily. So I'm not just like having 50 cards fall out. That could just be because I'm clumsy and fat-fingered. Okay, overall theme of the year is the King of Swords. It's getting in control of our thoughts, understanding that, like, yeah, there's all these butterflies and moons, this internal world, this transformation internally of who we actually are, and that our thoughts are not us, but having control over them. And when I say control, I just mean understanding, like understanding that your thoughts are not you, and that this thought comes from here and you can change it. And this thought comes from there and you can take that away and replace it with something else. That seems to be a theme of what they're saying for this year, of this being in power of your own emotional state, of your inner world, and the clear skies. I mean, there's lots of gray clouds in the background, but there's also clear skies. And there's also this feeling of oneness that I'm getting. So like this feeling of it all being connected and we're all one, maybe more. Last year, I think when I did this, the main theme was community, in terms of like connecting to others was really important last year. And this year it feels like is obviously that oneness is still coming through. So there's still this connection, but also oneness through understanding yourself. And I feel like that's a really good message in general, because the more I understand myself, the more I realize how incredibly individual we are. And yet we all share so much in common, and appreciating the fact that the differences are what actually can help bring us together and make us stronger. That would be a great lesson, I think, for a lot of people to learn. All right, let's do a goddess card. See what comes out here. Let's just do one. Let's just do one card. Overall, lovely goddess message for the year for 2020. Ooh, that was a close one, but no cigar. Okay. Where did that saying come from, do you think? Close, but no cigar. Do you think people like a carny game, carnival game? They played the one where you slam the hammer down and like if it got really close, but not all the way, they were like close, but no cigar. You don't get a cigar now. That was what you won back then, maybe, before all the smoking rules. Anywho, okay. We have Mother Mary here. As you can see, looking like a little like Glenn Close, Mary, but the word is miracles. So I will read what she has to say and then I will tell you what I'm getting. Mary, Mother of Miracles, has come to celebrate with you today. She's here to remind you of all the amazing wonders that are everywhere in your life right now. Look around you, especially at all the synchronistic events that have already taken place. Ever since you were born, events and opportunities have come together to support you, guide you, show you love, and present the world as you see it. Look closely and see the hand of the divine working on your behalf. You are a powerful co-creator, and you are responsible and accountable for your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that seed your field of dreams. Remember, miracles are uncanny evidence that from the invisible world, life springs into form without any reasonable cause for the effect. Mary gave birth as the great goddess was shown to do long before the Christian myth of Mary became real. She too proved herself to be the very essence of creation itself. In the moment, Mary reminds you of those miracles that you too can call into being. You don't need a cause or any evidential fact or calculation to believe and then see that miracles rise up in the conditions of your life. When Mary appears, you are reminded that you will never run out of miracles. Just a lovely message, and I fully endorse that. I just got excited because I feel like a lot of the things that came through with that card are the things that came through with the tarot, and I certainly love when there's synchronicities about it because it makes me feel like I'm not a complete liar, which I know I'm not a complete liar, but when it comes to the spirit guidance and spirit world, I know that people who connect know what I'm talking about, but you're like, oh my God. And then 5 seconds later, you're like, I probably made that up, right? I really hope I'm not making it up because then I actually might be schizophrenic. But that was the 2026 read. Let's see how it pans out. Maybe at the end of 2026, you're going to be like, Jess, nothing happened. None of that happened. To which I say, I am but human. And also, I do feel like that's why I try to go with themes and not like actual things that happen so far in advance, because in my belief system, so much stuff can happen with free will and everything. It's hard to predict exact things that are going to happen. And I think a lot of astrologers do that as well, where they say, these are the kind of things we could see happening because the energy supports certain actions, but the people have to take the action. So again, just because the energy is helping you to do something or pushing you to do something, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to take that action. That's what free will is. I hope you liked the episode. We will be back to another guest episode next week and then the week after me and blah, 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 on and on. I hope that you all have a fantastic first week back. If you're back at work, God bless you. Oh my God, I forgot. I'm going to be hosting a embodied witchcraft community coven online meetup on the 11th. So this weekend, this Sunday. It's the first one. I'm doing it. It probably won't be so many people of us, but I would love to meet you if you want to come. And we're going to do guided energy activation visualizations. That's kind of the plan for now. There's like 10, 15-minute visualization to connect back to ourselves, have some moment of healing and peace. I'll be doing quantum energy healing. I'll be allowing my guides to take us through it. So it will be me channeling while we do it together. And then we'll talk about different witchcraft topics. So if you're a newbie and you want to get started and you want to be able to ask someone questions, please join. I will be having Q&A so I can help you with stuff, give you recommendations, tell you what I do, anything I can help with. And then just get to know each other. I really feel like community is always important for me. So even though that was the word last year, I want to carry it through this year too. So I want to start building more of a community here in Copenhagen and globally as well. So if you're interested in joining, I'm going to put the link on Instagram today or tomorrow. And please join us and sign. You just have to sign up for the event. And then you'll be added to the mailing list that's only for that event. So you're not going to get any other. If you want to join my actual newsletter, you can do that from the homepage. But if you just want to join the event, then you just sign up from the event sign up page, and you'll only get emails that have the Zoom link to join and the meeting passcode. That's it. You're not going to get any other kind of marketing. I would not do that to you. Okay. I love you. I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.